My name is Maren Brennan. I work in admissions. I am the transfer specialist of our office, and I'm so excited to talk to you all about the transfer applications. This is the beginning of this new application cycle, and I am joined by my friend and colleague and partner in transfer admissions, Sarah. Sarah, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Sarah Lauk. My title at RISD is admissions coordinator. If you're writing an email to us, I'm the one that's probably like reading it and responding. Thanks for joining us tonight. And I work with Marin with to help out with all the transfer students. So we're kind of like your go-tos in the RISD admissions office for all your transfer needs.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to disappear. Well, you're going to still hear my voice, but you're not going to see me. I don't want to distract from the visuals. But we're going to reappear after the presentation to answer questions live. So I'm just going to share my screen, and Sarah, let me know if you can. Okay, can you see that all right?
Yep, I
All
can.
right. And I'm going to stop my video. Okay, excellent. So we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone. Thank you all for your interest in transferring to RISD. And we absolutely understand how overwhelming the application process can be, especially the transfer application process. It can be quite complicated to navigate. But that's what we're here for, and that's what this presentation is all about. We want to provide you with a walkthrough of our transfer application and give you the resources to navigate the process and find what you need to know. So please keep in mind that this is a general overview of the RISD transfer application. Our main focus will be the application itself. This webinar will not address financial aid and scholarships, portfolio specifics, or our degree programs. We will get more specific in future application preps about some things like the portfolio, but we also have other online info programs like RISD 101s and portfolio tips that I definitely encourage you all to check out. And I know that you have excellent questions. And as Sarah mentioned, please make sure to drop them in the Q&A chat box, not the regular chat box. Sarah might be putting in some links. I'll drop some links later on for you there. But even though you have excellent questions, I encourage you to kind of wait till it's closer towards the end of the presentation, just because there's a really good chance that a lot of your questions will be addressed in the presentation. I wouldn't want you to miss it. Of course, if you need any reiterating or if we missed anything, ask away. All right. So yeah, as I said, we'll reappear after the presentation to take questions. I do want to say, stay tuned on the admissions page where you found this application prep. Stay tuned to risd.edu to see upcoming info sessions like the rest of our application prep series for this application cycle. Please keep in mind that application prep 7 is also about the transfer application. Now, these online info sessions are available to anyone, no matter where you are on your educational journey, and you're welcome to attend. But you'll probably find that like checklists and final touches for early decision applicants and for regular decision applicants isn't necessarily helpful to you, but you really might get a lot out of curating and presenting your portfolio. So again, we also have portfolio tip webinars that are a deeper dive into the portfolio. So once again, this session will be a walkthrough of our transfer application. We'll also provide you with resources to navigate the application process and give you tips and address frequently asked questions about applying to transfer to RISD. Yeah, and again, just hold your questions till it's closer to the end and put them in the Q&A chat box. Or if you just don't want to forget your question, of course, drop it on in the Q&A chat box. Now, I do want to start off by talking about our eligibility. Last year, we had kind of clarified our eligibility requirements for all applicants, and I just want to start by outlining the updated eligibility requirements for all transfer applicants as written on the website. So, transfer applicants must complete 24 or more college credits at an accredited institution by the semester of entry. So this was decreased from 27 credit requirement in previous years due to RISD's own curriculum update. High school students with dual degree credits are not eligible to apply as transfers. So those credits that you used that were used to fulfill your high school graduation requirements can't be like double dipped, quote unquote, and used towards your transfer credit requirement. And I do want to point out students who have already earned a bachelor's degree may not apply for an undergraduate degree at RISD. You can't have a secondary degree at RISD. In that case, then you might want to look into our graduate programs. So, certainly possible there. But again, to be eligible to transfer, you just have to have or be working towards at least 24 college credits at an accredited institution. And we'll go on and at the top also talk about our deadline. So I should say actually deadline, because there's only one deadline for transfer applicants. It's for summer fall entry. I'll talk a little bit about why it's summer/fall, but I do want to point out that our spring entry deadline is closed. We unfortunately will not be able to accept any transfer applications for spring entry in 2026. Now, please take the March 17th deadline seriously. In fact, we recommend giving yourself a deadline a week or two before March 17th. Doesn't mean we don't try to help you out and grant a little bit of grace when it comes to the deadline, but please keep it, take it seriously and really, aim to get everything in by the March 17th deadline. Now, if you're interested in applying for financial aid, that transfer deadline is tentatively April 1st. So please stay tuned. And that is not a prank. I promise you, it is, at least as far as I can tell, it's not a prank. Tentative does not mean that we're joshing you. No, but like it might be April 1st, but stay tuned on risd.edu for any updates. Right now it says that it's March 17th, but by September or in early September, it will be updated to the official financial aid deadline. Now, it's important to submit your FAFSA and RISD institutional financial aid form by this deadline. If you're an international applicant, you'll just be submitting your RISD institutional financial aid form. And, all of our financial aid is need-based, and anything that you receive that first year is mirrored the rest of your time at RISD. So if you have any questions at all about tuition and financial aid, please feel free to reach out directly to Student Financial Services, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. So the transfer application requirements are as follows. There's the RISD transfer application. You have the statement of purpose, basically talking about why you want to transfer to RISD and to the department that you're applying to. Your academic transcripts, we require high school and college, and high school is going to be your final and official high school transcript. Or at least it will need to be official later on, but it does need to be the final one. It needs to show your year and date of graduation. Letter or letters of recommendation, 1 to 3. If English is your second language or basically not your first language, you will need to submit TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. We have minimum score requirements for those on our website. SAT or ACT is completely optional. You do not have to submit those scores. And then the portfolio, which is 12 to 20 different examples of your best and most recent artwork. All right, so I am going to turn it over to Sarah to talk about the transfer application.
Yeah, all right. Next slide, I guess. All right, so if you go to the risd.edu website and click on the admissions button, Maren has put together these great slides. There on the admissions page on our website, you can find the Apply Now button. We do use our own internal application system. If you're used to Common App, we don't use Common App for the transfer application, so you will need to apply through our website. And if you hit that Apply Now button, it's going to take you to the admissions portal. Next slide, please. It will ask you if you're new to us, and if you are and have never had an account with us, you'll need to hit the new to us create an account here. But if you have like previously applied to RISD, you already have an account and you can use the I have an existing account. But and if you do think you have an existing account with us, you might have some issues logging in, so you can always email us to reset your password. All right, next slide. All right, so the next thing that'll happen is if you're new to us, it'll ask you to register with this basic information, email, first name, last name, birthday. Next slide. And then you'll be taken to your application portal where you can actually start the transfer application. As you can see here on this page, there's two options, transfer and graduate. Make sure you hit the start transfer application since you will be applying as a transfer student and not a graduate student. And there is that box that says type status. If you have like applied to RISD in the past, you might see another application. So that information would be there also. All right, next slide. Okay, I think we can go on to that one. To the next one, Maren.
Oh, sure, yeah. Perfect. And that's that little information there, as you can see on that page, it showed you eligibility requirements, what I've already talked about in terms of the credits. But once you open to the first page of the application, it'll bring you to this instruction page, which goes again more in depth into the eligibility requirements. Not only do we ask that you have completed or are working towards at least 24 college credits. We also ask that at least 12 of them be in liberal arts, but please know that's not a make or break thing. If you have like 9 credits in liberal arts or less, that's okay. We just said 12 just so that you're not, when you start at RISD, you're not kind of behind the 8 ball. But if you don't have 12 quite yet, you can always make it up, those liberal arts credits here. As you scroll down, you can see more information about deadlines. Once again, application deadline for the spring term is closed. And then you'll also see the list of materials that need to be submitted. So the next page, and as you can see on the left-hand side, it obviously you can jump around to the different parts of the application. But so major of interest is the next page. Now, please keep in mind, you can only apply to transfer to one major. When you click on the drop-down menu and you select a major, the information about that major pops up. So you can see a little, just a little snippet about that department. You'll also notice that you'll need to choose your start term. And because spring is not an available start term for 2026, the only option will be the fall. So here are our undergraduate majors. We have a mixture of fine arts and design. We also actually have 2 new majors that are starting this coming academic year, art and computation and sound. Once again, transfer applicants only apply to one particular department. Now, please note that transfer admissions is based on space availability within each major. And unfortunately, admissions really has no way of knowing how much space will be available ahead of the March 17th deadline, because the space that's available is dependent on what our first-year students declare as their major. And that major declaration happens in the spring around the transfer application deadline. It is not an ideal system, but we communicate with you as soon as we learn if a department just can't accept any transfers. In fact, we actually know at this point that painting does not have any room for transfers. So, it's unfortunately not accepting applications for fall 2026. But if we do learn that there's a major, if along the way you've submitted an application or you started working on an application and we learn that there's no space, we will reach out to you as soon as we know, and you will have the opportunity to adjust your application and direct it towards a different department. Please also keep in mind that if you decide you want to take on a secondary major when you get here, you can propose adding another major with both department heads starting the first semester of your sophomore year. So you can't apply to two majors, but you can take on a secondary major later on. That does usually take an extra year, though, to fulfill both majors requirements. Now, I encourage you to choose a department that you really want to be a part of. So when department heads and faculty review applications, they're looking to get to know you and that you are genuinely interested in their department. So do your research, learn about each major, visit risd.edu and go to the academics section and then select undergraduate study. And you can scroll down to find all the departments, all of their department pages. Each department page has detailed information for you, like the curriculum breakdown, course descriptions, some student work. You can learn about faculty and the department's workspaces and tools as well. So as you'll see, you'll select from the drop-down menu. And again, I just want to point out, you won't find painting there because it's not open. So again, just to let you know there. And then I'm going to pass it on back to Sarah to talk about additional information. And we are going to skip the biographic information because it's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to jump on down to additional info.
All right. So in the additional information section, you'll see here, it'll ask you what your primary language is. And you'll put whatever language you're fluent in. Now I will say, if you put that your primary language is anything other than English, you will be required to submit your test scores, either your IELTS, Duolingo, or TOEFL. And then also it'll ask if you want to be test optional or not. So if you don't want to submit any ACT or essay scores, you should put yes, that you want to be test optional. All right, we can go to the next slide. All right, so just going back a little bit more about oh, sorry, Maren, I'm skipping ahead.
Oh, no problem. You're great.
Yeah, so like I said before, yeah, if your primary language is not English, you'll get additional information below that tells you what the scores are, what tests we accept. And then there is a section about whether or not you've already taken any test or if you're going to be sending them in later. So you have some options. If you've already taken English proficiency test, we can accept scores as long as they're within the last 2 years. And then if you have gone to a school where you've taken if you've gone to a school that is in English and you've had at least 3 years of classes and you haven't taken any English as second language classes, ESL classes, you can potentially be waived of that requirement. So once you submit your portfolio, a English waiver form will be available in your applicant portal. So, all right, next slide. Yeah, again, there's a section that says the language test requirement may be waived. And then if you plan on taking the test, you should click that link. If you have already taken it, you choose that one. And again, if you are interested in the waiver, you choose the I've contacted the admissions office about a waiver. All right, so the next section, the additional information page, is also where we'll ask you about the college classes you've taken or are in the process of taking. So yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory there. You'll just put how many studio credits you've had so far or total credits you've had, and then liberal arts classes. Now, if you don't know exactly how many or if you're unsure, it's fine. Do your best like estimate. It doesn't like have to be like the exact amount. I don't know if you have any
I do.
general
Oh, I do. I just want
comments
to
about
add
that.
to. You're absolutely right about that. Like, it doesn't have to be the exact amount, and you can kind of see like just what we consider liberal arts classes. It's a little description there. Studio credits. Consider studio credits as like visual art classes. But I did want to point out just that last question. We do ask when your spring semester ends, mostly because we'll talk more about it later, but one of the requirements for many of our admitted transfers is to take a summer experimental and foundation studies program. And that happens end of June into August. It's 6 weeks. And so, it's a good idea. It's good for us to know when your semester ends so that it ends in time. But that's just information for us to have, um, just to be aware. Um, but yeah, okay. So we're gonna move on forward. All right. Um, did you want to talk about this, Sarah, or do you want me to?
Oh yeah, sorry.
No worries.
For your academic history, your transcripts, you'll upload your transcripts to the academic history section of the application. And we do require your high school transcript, or GED, and then your college transcript. Some students have gone to different programs, so they might have multiple ones. So just feel free to upload all of your transcripts. Um, and then you can send us what we call copies. So if you have just like a copy of either one of your transcripts, your high school and your college, we will accept copies for the application process. But if you are accepted to RISD, we will require official transcripts from both your college and your high school. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. And official means they have to come directly from that school or like a service like Parchment or National Student Clearinghouse.
Yeah. I also want to point out that if admitted, and as Sarah said, we'll require your official transcripts. As soon as we get your official transcripts from your school, from your college, that's when the registrar's office can start working with your studio department head and the dean of liberal arts to transfer over any credits. So there's really no limit to the number of credits that can be transferred over. At the same time, keep in mind you're still going to be spending at least 2 years, more like 3 years as a transfer here, unless you go into architecture, then it's 4. But that cannot happen until we have received your official transcript. So it's certainly, helpful for us, but also in your best interest to make sure that that's sent over to us as soon as possible so they can get that going.
Yeah, so when you click on add institution, you'll get a like pop-up window that'll ask for all the information from your school, like your level of study, what the name of the institution is, your start dates, level of study, all of that. And you can add as many institutions as you like. But hopefully you'll just have one or two. All right. So the next thing we require, and it's kind of the next part of the application, is your letters of recommendation. We do ask for 1 to 3 letters. Instructors or mentors may write your letters of recommendation. Ask those who can speak to your potential as a RISD student. So I recommend asking your studio art instructor or professors that have really firsthand knowledge of you as a student and your work. But you're welcome to ask anyone that has firsthand knowledge of you. So if you're like, I don't have a studio professor, hopefully you will, but it can be other people in your community as well that can write a letter for you. All right. So this is what the page looks like for recommenders. You'll go to click add new and you can add up to 3. Actually, the thing is you can add more than 3, but if you add more than 3, uh, the application is not going to let you submit. You're going to get an error form. And then if that did I say an error form? You're going to get an error and you're not going to be able to submit the application. So usually what happens then is that you'll have to email us and we'll have to remove one of the recommenders. So please, for your sake and ours, just please don't add more than 3 recommenders. And everything will be okay then. So once you add those recommenders, you'll get a pop-up window that has this information. You'll fill that out. And then when you hit send to recommender, they'll get an email directly to them with a link, and they'll be able to submit their letter of recommendation through the link. For some reason, if they're not getting that email from us, or they wait too long, the link might expire. So recommenders are also welcome to email us the letter of recommendation directly to admissions at risd.edu. All right. And then you want to do this section?
Yes. I also realized
Did
this
we
was
skip
meant to go
something?
here first. And so that's why I'll sit on this for 1, 2, 3. Cool. And now we'll do, there we go. Here we go. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. But the next, right on the next part of the menu, statement of purpose. So this is up to 650 words. That's, just a limit. Doesn't mean you need to reach that limit, but we are asking for you to provide a statement that addresses your reasons for transferring and the objectives you hope to achieve by joining us at RISD. And so I certainly recommend being specific about why you're interested in transferring into the department of your choice, rather than only speaking about why you're interested in RISD in general. And that's also great to learn too. But again, as I said before, the departments are looking for students who are ready for RISD and who are also want to be in their department. So speaking to why you want to be in that major is certainly a great idea. And we want to hear your voice. So keep in mind that you're welcome to be as creative as you'd like with these written samples. Um, this is, I would say, next to the portfolio, this is another area in the application where we can learn more about you and your personality, get a sense for your voice. So again, have fun with it, be creative. That in the application prep 3, writing your college essay, does focus a lot on specifically the Common App prompts and things like that. But that's also a helpful place to just, to get tips on how to be creative about your college essay and your, so your statement of purpose. So definitely, check that out as well. I'll also see underneath the statement of purpose on the menu, it says resume. And, it is, I just want to point out that it's not required, but if you would like to include it, you can upload a Word document or PDF. And I would say, we want to learn as much about you as we can. So whether it be in your resume, also statement of purpose, speaking to, other areas of interest that you have as well. Okay, so Sarah, back to you to talk about the review page.
Yeah, so the review page, this page will show you if you're missing any information before you submit. You can click on the individual sections to go directly back to the page that's missing information. And this is the page, like, let's say you're trying to submit the application and it's just not letting you. And you're like, why is it not letting me? Then go back to this review page, and this review page will tell you what's missing or why there's an error and how to address those errors. So like, for example, this one, the statement of purpose hasn't been uploaded yet. So It looks like everything else was done, filled out, so you just go back to the statement of purpose section and upload that. And you can like save and come back to your application too. It will keep your information. So if you only fill out half of it at a time, that's fine. You can come back to it.
Right. And
Uh,
when you go back to it, you'll see in that page that had like, transfer or graduate application, and where it showed, if you've applied before, that's where you're going to click on your, 2026 application that's in progress.
yeah, you'll be able to just sign back into your portal and click on that. Yeah, click on that application. All right. Oh, one thing is under the review section, when you're ready to submit your application, click the finalize application and pay button at the bottom of the review page, and that will bring you to the application fee page where you will submit your payment. Um, you're welcome to email us at admissions@risd.edu to ask about fee waivers. Yeah, just email us if you need a fee waiver and we'll be happy to waive that fee for you. Or if you're not ready quite yet to submit and pay, you can hit that save for later button and go back to
Yes.
your application later.
Okay.
All right. So once you hit that save and pay, you're gonna go to your, it's gonna, the application is gonna then submit and then take you to your applicant portal. And you can get your application portal from there.
And I also want to point out before you continue, Sarah, is that like you must submit your application in order to have access to your portal. So just keep that in mind too.
Yeah, that is correct. So once you hit that button and it takes you to your portal by clicking the menu item, uh, that'll bring you here. And from this homepage of the applicant portal, click the check application status button. And then that will show you your application updates and your application checklist. So the application checklist is super helpful through this process. It lets us know and lets you know what items have been submitted and what items are awaiting. So at this point, we've gone through the application, we've submitted it, and now we need to still submit our portfolio. And this is how you will access the portfolio to submit it is through your portal. And it also show you if once your letters are received. Um, yeah. So next page, I guess, Maren.
Yes. And I will also say too, just please also give roughly 24 hours to see updates in your portal. Like it's not immediate. So if you upload something, it'll just take some time to reflect on your
Yes.
checklist.
Yes. Thank you, Maren.
Welcome.
All right, so this is how you upload your portal, or sorry, portals, too many P's, too many words that are like portal. Okay, to submit your portfolio, you'll have to do it through the portal. It's not through the application. And you can see there's a lot of helpful information about how to upload materials here and where you upload your portfolio. So where you see that blue button, submit portfolio, you'll click on that.
And yeah, now we're going to talk about the portfolio requirements. I do want to take this moment to remind you that we are not going to talk in depth about the portfolio in this info session, but I'll touch on it briefly in the next slide. Again, in future application preps, which you're all welcome to attend, and upcoming like portfolio tips, we will go more in depth about putting together your portfolio. It is a good idea to get feedback on your portfolio, and in a little bit, I'll talk more about those portfolio review opportunities. But first, let's quickly talk about the portfolio requirements, what to keep in mind. So again, the only requirement is that it's 12 to 20 different examples of your best and most recent work. Now, because you're applying to a particular major, your portfolio should be evident what major you're applying to, even without looking at your application. It should be very clear what department you are aiming for. So we're looking for major specific work for the most part, but we absolutely welcome variety. You're also, absolutely welcome to include other disciplines in your portfolio. And it's helpful to show foundation themed work as well. Even if your transcript shows that you've taken foundation classes, it's also helpful for that to be reflected in your portfolio. But while our first year applicants are applying to specifically the foundation program, you as a transfer are applying specifically to a major. So either, in all of the portfolios we look at, we want to learn as much about the applicant as possible. This is where we hope to learn the most about you. We want to see your personality in everything you choose to include. We want to see risk taking. We love outside the box thinking and just a willingness to try new things. We want to see your original ideas and concepts, your point of view. And also keep in mind too, like, if you are, for example, interested in applying to film, animation, video, and you don't have any animation experience, that's okay. You don't have to, just because we're looking for your work to be major specific, that doesn't mean that we're expecting you to have done a bunch of animations by now. It's good to keep in mind that most of our transfers start in sophomore year at RISD, which is the foundation year of the majors. They're going to be starting in the majors along with students who are just first year students. So, you can still showcase your interest in, for example, film, animation, video by doing work that's aligned with visual moving storytelling. So you can do character designs, storyboarding, things like that. So there's a lot of different ways to showcase your interest in the desired major. So in your application, you'll see under resume, that next page is portfolio instructions. Once again, as Sarah said, you are going to be submitting your portfolio within your applicant status portal, but this just outlines the portfolio instructions. And it is good to keep in mind that once you submit your application, you will be able to submit your portfolio within the applicant status portal, and you'll receive an email to activate that portal once you submit your application. So you'll see once you press that submit portfolio button from your application, it'll bring you to this page, which is to upload media. So as you can see, there's the upload instructions there. It lists all the file size types and everything. So in this box that I've highlighted here, you'll either drag or select files to put in that box. And then you'll start upload. You'll press that button that says start upload. And then this window is going to pop up. It's going to let you know how many files that's uploaded successfully. Just letting you know that it might take a minute, and then you press OK, that you acknowledge that. And then it'll automatically go over to your portfolio page, that tab there. So from here, you can edit each slide by selecting, for each slide, you can select edit details. Once you click on that, this little window will pop up where you can change the title, add the year, size, medium, the description here. We recommend keeping your description brief if you decide to include a description. Please know that none of this here is necessarily required, but it is helpful certainly to learn the size of your work, and the medium especially is most interesting. I think it is a good idea to at least include title, year, size, medium, but the description is up to you. And we recommend keeping it brief. Letting the artwork speak for itself. The only time I would say a description is absolutely required is if you are doing you're included a collaborative work here and you wanted to speak more to your contribution to the project. You certainly want to cite other artists, but really the description is up to you. Now, I do want to point out that you unfortunately won't be able to edit the orientation of your artwork. As you can see here, this image is meant to be vertical and it has been uploaded horizontal. So what you can do is go back to the upload media tab and then re-upload it. So then as you can see here, you have both versions, the one that's correct and the one that you want to get rid of. Then you reopen the edit details window and you just delete that one that you don't need. If
Um,
I've noticed in going through this application that sometimes it takes a double click to delete it, but you can just delete it from there. And then if you wanted to select the preview option, you can see a larger image of the slide. Just know that on the readers and the applicate reader side, your work will show up much larger than this. So don't worry about that. And on our side, we'll be able to see the description and the title and all that underneath the slide itself. So that's another good reason as to why you don't want to put too much of a description. Yeah, you just want to let the work speak for itself.
Oh, before we
Yes,
continue,
please.
um, there is a few funny things about this uploading process for the portfolio. What we prefer is for you to upload each of your images individually.
Oh, good to know.
So 12, so we will accept a minimum of 12 and we'll accept a maximum of 20. Right now, because of how the program works, it will let you upload more than 20 images, but please don't. Please be mindful of that because if you do upload more than 20, I'm going to send you an email and ask you very politely to edit it down to 20. And also, if you don't upload all at least 12, I will also email you and ask you to please upload the minimum amount because I can see that on my end. And then one other kind of funny troubleshooting thing is it will allow you to upload your portfolio as a PDF. But if you do that, it's not gonna, once you submit your portfolio, it's not gonna be marked off in your checklist. So let's say you've uploaded your portfolio, it's been 24 hours, you uploaded it as a PDF and it hasn't been marked off your checklist. It could be because the system's not viewing it as like 12 to 20 images. It's only viewing it as one image. So then I have to manually go in there and check that you have the right amount of images. So if you do submit a PDF, please don't submit more than 20 images and still submit a minimum of 12, so 12 to 20. A lot of students, when they submit a portfolio like this, in a PDF version, will have like a title page. And there's no need for you to add a title page. We already are viewing this in your application, so don't count that as like one of the images. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Maren?
No, that was good. I guess just a clarification. So when you're saying a PDF, do you mean in general or do you mean like a multi-page PDF?
Yeah, like some students will put together a PDF, a multi-page PDF
Yes.
with all their
That's
images.
right. Thank you so much because not only is that only going to read as one, it's also really frustrating on the readers end. It takes a while to upload. Plus it's just, it's just, yeah, it's best practice to not do that. So thank you so much for bringing that up. And another thing I just wanted to add, just to add to your note about like not doing more than 20 slides is like the whole point of a portfolio as well is it's meant to be a curated selection of your best work. So part of the process is editing down to your best pieces. So don't want to overdo it. And keep in mind that anywhere between 12 and 20 different examples of work. So you can have more than one slide feature one project, but that's totally fine. You really have 20 slides to play with, but at the end of the day, we should be able to see that there's at least 12 different examples of work. That gives us a better idea of your ideas, your skill set, and all that. I did mention earlier that oh, well, I will say again, just going back to this, as you can see, we'll press continue and then that's when you're ready to submit your portfolio. This is an example right now of like an this is an example of where you will get an email from Sarah if you do click that continue, because there's only 3 pieces and we need we need
Yeah.
like at least 8 more. So so again, you can submit continue, but get ready for that email. Thank you, Sarah. But I do want to say, so once you press continue and you're ready, then you're all set. You've submitted your application because you need to have done that in order to access the portal, in order to submit your portfolio, and you've submitted your portfolio. But I want to quickly say, you know, speaking of the portfolio, as I mentioned earlier, it's great to get feedback on your work. It is not required at all. And it's not a part of the application process. No admissions decisions are ever made at these events. But, you know, as we all know, as artists, it's really helpful to get an outside perspective on your work. And so you can get feedback in order to make that work stronger. So we have a, you know, a little over a handful of national portfolio days we'll be attending. And those are in person, as you can see here. And then we also have online portfolio days, and those are hosted by RISD, and they are also um they're just specific to RISD. So these are our events here, and then you can go to our website and you can register for these events on our website. When you register for the National Portfolio Day, you'll just be registering for the event. And as you all may know, if you've attended one of these events, you just plan to get there early and line up for see the schools that you'd like to speak with. The RISD Portfolio Day is when you register, you are registering for a time slot. So keep in mind the difference there. But aside from that, it's about 10 to 15 minutes with a RISD representative. And we're happy to see any work you'd like to share. You certainly do not have to have a finished portfolio ready in order to get feedback. I also do want to point out, actually, you know, seeing as you all will be submitting your application by March, like mid-March, I do want to point out that because the admissions officers here, we are all focused on reading early decision and then regular decision applications. And that is a lot. It is a mountain of applications. We are unable to schedule portfolio days in the winter, in the new year. So I do want to point out to you that these are the opportunities you have to get feedback. So please take advantage of these times. You're welcome to meet with us more than once. You know, definitely a good idea to give some time in between getting feedback so you can actually implement that feedback. But please don't wait for 2026 to arrive in hopes that we have other portfolio events lined up. We won't. We will be focusing on reading first year applications so that we can get ready to read your application. So just wanting to throw that out there. And just to quickly give you a heads up, just an idea, you know, if you wanted a visual of how the timeline of a RISD transfer application goes, you know, August is when we launch all of our applications. And you have, you know, the rest of these months here to work on your application, to get feedback, learn more. Your deadline's in March. We will be reading from March into April. And our decisions are, we aim for the end of April to let you know of your admissions decision, but it is sometimes early May. Okay, so I'm quickly going to jump over to frequently asked questions, and we will still make sure to answer your questions that you've dropped in the Q&A chat box, but I do want to go through some FAQs. How many spots are available in my desired major? So as I mentioned before, there's no way to know at this point how many spots are available because it is very much dependent on what our first year students declare as their major, and they're guaranteed a spot in whatever major they choose. So then the department heads, they determine how many more students their department can accommodate. And this calculation determines how many transfer applicants we can admit to each major. So again, we will let you know as soon as we can if it turns out that your desired department cannot accommodate transfers. And then in which case you'll have the option to direct your application to a different department. Can I transfer into RISD as a first year applicant if I'm already in college? If you're in college and you have not earned at least 21 college credits, like if you have earned 21 or less college credits, then you are still eligible to apply as a first year. If you have earned more than 21 college credits, you are no longer eligible to apply as a first year and you will need to apply as a transfer. Can I apply to more than one major at a time? No, you cannot. You can only submit one undergraduate application per cycle. So definitely reach out to us, admissions@risd.edu. If you have any questions about the majors you're interested in, definitely take a look at all of our department pages on risd.edu to learn more. In fact, those department pages will go more in depth into each major, um, and to decide which one is the right one for you. Can I start at RISD as a junior? So most transfer students enter RISD at the sophomore level in the summer or fall term. Um, the so Almost no students transfer directly into their junior year, and this is because RISD has a unique transfer credit policy. It is possible, though, to be admitted as a junior, but usually the way it works is if you've completed 2 or more years of college, which is closer to 60 college credits, you may be considered for advanced standing. So you may be admitted with advanced standing, but mostly what happens is you would request to be considered for advanced standing in your first semester at RISD. So in that case, your department head will determine which studio credits are eligible to transfer and how to adjust your curriculum. Now, please note that because this process often takes place after you enroll at RISD, our office cannot guarantee your placement junior year. That is completely up to the department head. Now, also keep in mind that you're required to be enrolled full-time at RISD. So this means you must take at least 12 credits per semester. So it usually takes a transfer student who has 2+ years of college credits over 2.5 academic years to complete a RISD degree program. What is RISD's transfer credit policy? So now we are happy to help you learn if you have enough college credits to be eligible to apply as a transfer, and we can predict or estimate. We can guess as to which credits may be transferable, but please know that it is ultimately not our decision what can transfer over. RISD divides credits into 2 categories, liberal arts and studio classes. Now, liberal arts classes can include any academic classes like humanities, history, literature, science, math, etc. Liberal arts credits will successfully transfer to RISD from classes with an earned grade of C or higher. Now, it's the Dean of Liberal Arts who decides which of your liberal arts credits is eligible to transfer over. Studio credits transfer at the discretion of your major's department head and the Dean of Experimental and Foundation Studies, or EFS. And so the Dean of EFS will decide whether or not you need to take our summer EFS program. What is summer EFS? So I touched on it earlier, but just to go in a little bit deeper, a new transfer student enters RISD at the sophomore level, skipping our entire first year, which is Experimental and Foundation Studies, or EFS for short. So for that reason, most new transfer students are required to enroll in a 6-week summer EFS program starting towards the end of June. Now, transfer applicants with 18 comparable foundation studio art credits can be considered to waive this program. So if admitted to RISD, you will learn in your acceptance letter if you need to successfully complete summer EFS in order to enroll in the fall. Now, I will say that every RISD transfer student or RISD alum who has transferred to RISD, who I've talked to about summer EFS, has said it's a great program. It's a great transition into RISD, and it really gives you an opportunity to work alongside students who are going to be going into other departments. And this is just a visual of what a week of this summer, the 6-week summer program looks like. So you'll be taking the studio classes required in the first year program, which is condensed into 6 weeks. So this runs again from end of June to early August. And those studios, as you can see, design, spatial dynamics, which is a fancy term for 3D, and drawing. Is the application different for international and domestic students? So please note that the application deadlines and the requirements and forms and fees are the same for US and international applicants. There may, though, still be some differences. For example, any applicant who speaks English as a second language, no matter where they're applying from, will need to submit their English proficiency test results or apply for a waiver. And then, you may need to ensure that your transcripts are translated into English if they're not already in English. So aside from those differences, and aside from the differences in financial aid, what you submit if you're applying, it's the same application. Okay, so let me jump through a few tips and then we're going to open it up to a few questions. I won't keep you too long because I definitely want to be mindful of everyone's time. Thanks for hanging in there. But I do want to say, give yourself time so you don't have to rush. I know it seems like you have plenty of time, and you do. Your deadline's not until mid-March, but certainly don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait until 3 days before the deadline to submit. I know this is all digital, and that's in a lot of ways convenient, but technology has a way of taking a break. So you don't want to wait until like 11:59 before the deadline to press the submit button. Definitely, I would say actually try to finish and submit your application as soon as possible. But at the same time, it is required. So, so as I say this, forget that it being a tip. Like, this is actually what you do need to do. You have to submit your application, and first to have access to the portal, which will grant you access to your portfolio submission. So, not to confuse you, but yeah, get that stuff out of the way, because ultimately what this tip is telling you is that the artwork is the most fun part. So why not save the best for last and get the other stuff out of the way? It's a good idea to secure your letters of recommendation ahead of time. I am sure you all have many professors who would be happy to write you a letter of rec, but if they don't have enough time, they simply just may not be able to. So definitely be mindful of their time and make sure to not just ask them like a week before the deadline. Organize your process, prioritize, give yourself a deadline ahead of the actual deadline. Definitely maybe 2 weeks before, the March 17th deadlines, just so in case anything needs to be adjusted, you have that cushion time. And then, my biggest feedback or advice is just to have fun and enjoy the process. It is so overwhelming. You all know this because you've applied to college already. And the transfer application is its own beast. So please know that we know this. We are here for you every step of the way. And please feel free to reach out to us. Call us, email us. We're happy to answer any questions. But yeah, have fun with it. And just keep in mind that we are excited to get to know you. So show us you in all areas of your application. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to come back and answer some questions. And again, then let's send you on your merry way. Thank you for hanging out with us. Okay. All right, let's go to the questions. The first one is great. It is, what is meant by risk taking in a portfolio? What I mean by risk taking is not showcasing just like cookie cutter work that is like, this is an example, like perhaps, or like showing your personality. So maybe instead of showcasing, I'm using a foundational example, but like instead of showcasing your foundational skills in value range with like something that you did in a studio art class where it's just like a still life of like shapes, that doesn't surely show us anything about you. Like, it doesn't show us much personality, I guess, unless you were to put like googly eyes on the shapes, but like show us your value range skill set in something that also showcases your personality and your point of view. So maybe as an example, like a landscape painting or drawing, or like an abstract, nature drawing, or maybe it's a self-portrait. Maybe here's an idea of risk taking is maybe the self-portrait is made out of unconventional materials. You're really stepping outside the box as to what is an art material. Maybe, things like that. Maybe you're just like, even just stepping outside of your comfort zone is risk taking. So there really isn't any like prescribed way to do it. It's just like trying new things. We love seeing that you're willing to try new things because we certainly always encourage our students to try new things here. I have a question about the admission requirements. The first year at my current university is a language preparatory year, and I won't be earning any credits for it. What should I do in this situation? Can I still apply as a transfer student? That's a great question. I would say perhaps, so it's based because we do certainly get some schools, like transcripts from schools that really don't assign credits, or we get so like from schools that are like international where like the credit for one class is like 126, and it's just like, so we convert it when we're looking at it. I know the registrar converts it to like, to so that it fits our credit system, which is 3 credits per class. So there is certainly a chance if your school is accredited that even if they don't assign credits, that we can still um it would still be eligible. We can convert it and when we assess. But
I would just
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I would just I would maybe email us, and if
Yes,
you have a copy of it ahead of time, we can like take a look and make sure that you are eligible to like apply still. So we don't want to, you know, have you go through the whole process and then you realize you're not eligible. So
definitely.
yeah, sooner than later, email us and we can let you know. We're happy to
Yes.
to do that.
Yeah, and we'll reach out to registrar and we'll get an answer for you. And yeah, certainly, taking whatever your curriculum is, even if it's not in the school that you're in, taking studio classes as much as you can, but also knowing as long as you have those anyway, as long as you're eligible in terms of credits, you know, the certain studio classes aren't specifically required. Okay. Can you please clarify if there are any majors that would benefit from an increase in applications? Alternatively, are these majors currently underrated and more receptive to transfer students? I work in multiple mediums trying to guide my decision. Yeah, there are certainly some transfer or some departments that are always welcome, like really particularly excited to have transfer students. I would say our photography department is one of them. They're awesome, like an exceptional photography program. They are always so excited and to have transfer applicants. I would say the smaller majors that are maybe more fine arts. So we also have like ceramics, um, glass, majors like that. I will say the majors that so painting, as we know, doesn't have any space, but the other most popular major is illustration. And that is our largest department, meaning we also have meaning we have the most students in it. So that if it's taking any transfers, is often only taking a couple. So so yeah, I would say a lot of our fine arts majors are particularly receptive and excited about transfers. I also do want to point out too that even though you're applying to one particular major, none of our like all of our departments are very much about risk taking, stepping outside the box. And as undergraduate students, when you come over, you will still need to fulfill our requirement of 4 non-major studio electives. So you will get a chance to take classes in other departments during your time at RISD. But yeah, let's see. Are there any specific requirements or criteria that the graphic design department looks for in a portfolio? I mean, I would just honestly, the department pages are really helpful. It shows current student work. Doesn't mean you have to mimic that by any means, but you can just get a sense of the kind of stuff that they're doing. Obviously working with typography, um, and the communication in that way. But we don't, when it comes to the transfer application, there aren't any departments that say, oh, on top of or within the 12 to 20 examples, you must also include this. So no, definitely explore the department page to learn more and get a better sense. Can transfer students apply for scholarships in the same way as first year student? Yes. So you'll be submitting your FAFSA and your RISD institutional financial aid form. Again, if you're an international student, it's only the RISD institutional financial aid form. But yes, you'll be submitting that application, and it is need based. Definitely check out the SFS, the financial aid portion of our website to learn more about the different scholarships and how that works. And it's also the same as first year in that, like, if you're given financial aid when you first come to RISD that first year, it is mirrored the rest of your time. And it also like is adjusted based on if there's like an increase in tuition or something. I have a question. Would I be considered a transfer or first year if I am a PSEO student who has more than 25 credits and will have an associate's degree by the end of the spring? What is a PSEO student, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe this person email us and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, we can get back to you for sure.
Yeah.
An associate's degree, though, if you're getting, I will say, if you're getting your associate's degree after graduating your secondary school or getting your GED, then yes, you are still eligible to apply as a transfer. If you've earned your associate's degree, that's fine. If you've earned your bachelor's degree, then unfortunately you would need to apply not as a transfer, but you would need to focus on our master's programs. Now, if you're getting an associate's degree, but you're still in high school, because I know that there are those like dual enrollment programs, you would not be eligible to apply as a transfer, even if you've earned your degree while in high school. You need to have yeah, this needs to be after those college credits need to be after you graduate high school. Do I need to attach a high school diploma and college to the application or choose one? We just need your transcript that shows you graduated. So just, it'll say on there like the date of graduation, that's all. And it'll say, of course, all your grades for all the semesters.
Yeah, but
And
we want both transcripts. Or
exactly, for
if you,
college, yes.
yeah, and high school. But if you have a GED, we want that instead
Mhm.
in lieu of your high school transcript.
Absolutely, yeah. In an application, how are test scores, grades, and portfolio assessments weighted in terms of their significance? What is the acceptable range for the GPA? So great question. So we do review applications holistically, meaning we don't pay attention to only the portfolio. That being said, the portfolio does hold the most weight. It is the biggest part of the application. I would say the next thing that holds the next most important thing are your grades. We do not have a minimum GPA requirement. We do when you're applying as a transfer, we do focus mainly on your college grades. We will look at, of course, high school, but we mostly look at high school to see like, yeah, if there's been any improvement, or mostly to see that you've officially graduated high school. On average, our admitted students have a B plus A minus, but again, that's not a hard and fast rule by any means. There's no minimum requirement. We love to see grades that are steadily improving. So if you know, in high school, you obviously you graduated, but you were all right. And then you got to college and you're like, oh, that's where it really clicked and that's where you're shining. That's great. We definitely make note if your grades have improved. But yeah, everything else we also take into account. If you do choose to include your SAT or ACT scores, they'll be factored in because we review holistically, but they don't hold as much weight as a transcript. I would say that is better. And then again, yeah, your statement of purpose gives us a better insight as to why you're choosing RISD and that major, and just we just hope to learn about you as much as we can in the application. But the portfolio and the transcripts, I think, are the biggest thing. All right, this will be our last question, and then we're gonna say goodbye for now. What should I do if I graduated from high school in another country? That's totally fine. You just want to make sure that you submit your transcript that shows your year of graduation, your date of graduation, and if it's in a different language, please have the school translate it to English before they send it over.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fine if it's another.
Yeah. Also, we don't need evaluations. We don't need evaluations of your transcripts. If you do have to get it translated, we just need the translation. And if your school doesn't do translations, we'll accept WES or another accredited translator. So sometimes we do get that question about, oh, when we get it translated, does it need to be evaluated? And no, RISD, and the admissions office and our registrar's office will do all the evaluations. So that's not necessary.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
if we missed your question, I did see there was a few in the chat. Please email us at admissions@risd.edu, and we will happy to answer any of those additional questions.
Excellent. Thank you all so much. Sarah, thank you so much. And yes, everyone, please feel free to reach out and know that we have application prep 7 that's specifically for you, but other application preps that talk more about the portfolio, writing your college essay, other online info sessions. And yeah, reach out with any questions. Attend a portfolio review, at least one, but you're welcome to attend more. And we really appreciate your interest, and we look forward to talking to you more. Have a great rest of your night or day and week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.